Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great week so far and looking forward to the weekend. I just wanted to speak about a couple of things today, to be honest with you. The first one was um, locked communities or like a platform. So during the Fireside Chats about the Fires podcast that Neil and myself recorded last week and the one that we're going to be posting today, the guest on there started to explain about the benefits. I don't know if benefits is the correct terminology, really, but the growth around platform companies. So, platform companies, the likes of Facebook, Uber, Airbnb, where they don't actually own anything, they use a platform to share their information and share stuff, right? Um, and I just thought that, well, that's a great way to talk with your community, right? Or your niche market, for example. So I'm testing an online community now for Podcast Coach. It's got about 5 or 6, something like that, members, and I'm really, really happy with the way that it's going. So the way that it works is you have this community that is there for you. You only invite people. You have to get you get on it through invitation only, which kind of adds to the level of, I wouldn't say exclusivity, but it's nice, right? That you've only got onto that platform because you've been invited on it. And then on that community itself, it allows you to speak directly to the community members. The clues in the title, right? But it's just a really good way of engaging with your niche market or the people that are interested in what you're doing. Because sometimes on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, your message is lost because there's a lot of noise out there. You don't necessarily hit the right market. So an online community, an online community allows you to cherry pick who you want to be on that. So there is that level of, like I said, exclusivity, right? And then it makes your message hit with the right people, right? So it's just a great way of speaking to your niche market, to your community, for example. And I'm testing it at the moment, and I really, really enjoy it. Just the fact that it allows me to talk directly to people, and you can interact, and they can ask you things that maybe they wouldn't have asked you in a more public setting. So I do my online community with Mighty Networks. I've only gone with the free version for now, and it seems to be fulfilling my needs. What you can do is you can post questions, you can post topics, you can post basically whatever you want. I haven't been able to post a video directly onto the site yet. I'm sure that's available in some of the paid subscription models. But what it does allow you to do is if you post on Facebook or LinkedIn, you can then copy and embed that link onto your online community so you can still share it. I'm enjoying that journey right now, and we'll see how that goes. Knowing me, next week I won't even talk about it. But at the moment, it's something that I enjoy, and I just think it's a great way of engaging with your niche market. On to the next topic that I wanted to speak about, and that is really, and I've spoken about it in previous Q&A sessions, and it's really about the direction that a podcast can take you in. And this isn't a blowing smoke at my own ass, right? It's not about that at all. Actually, if anything, it's more about the journey that the Fireside Chats podcast has been on, and what happens if you do a podcast well. So, to backtrack a little bit, Neil Toff and myself launched Fireside Chats Without the Fires podcast March 2020, right at the start of the pandemic, right? Who'd have thought? Great time to launch a new company or a new venture or whatever a podcast is called these days. With the sole intention of getting CX messages out there, CX customer experience and messages out there, and speaking to CX thought leaders, authors, all those type of people, right? And to be honest with you, it's gone far better than I ever thought it would. And that's one of the main reasons that I've launched the Podcast Coach, because I want other people to experience what Neil and myself have experienced as we've gone through the Fireside Chats Without the Fires journey. So we launched it March 2020, focused on customer experience and a slant towards the BPO Since BPO is like contact center world, since launch though, we've focused a lot more on customer experience, and we've been able to generate a lot of interest, but more so we've had some wonderful guests on there. We've had some top selling authors and best selling authors and some real thought leaders in the CX space. I'll name drop, but it's not really kind of that's not what I'm about. So people like Nate Brown, Micah Solomon, or Jeff Tozer, all these people, Sherry Kendall, who we had on last week and was posted last week, all these people, there's so many more names that I could talk about, but there's all these people are leaders within the CX environment. At no point did I think Neil and myself ever think that we would be where we are now with the podcast. So kind of just let me explain. Christopher Brooks is a UK guy, a CX thought leader, and above and beyond that, he is just a great, great human being. He really is. He's, I'm sure he's not listening to this, but he is just somebody that you would gravitate to. He's just got the right vibe. Anyway, as well as being a CX thought leader and an expert, he also launched, I think it was last year or the year before, something called the CX World Games, Customer Experience World Games. And that's about helping companies or helping charities solve customer experience issues so that they have a better experience for customers, right? Or for people that are trying to give money, donations, whatever you want to call it. And it went really, really well. When he came onto our podcast last year, after we recorded it, we were having a chat, and he just made a throwaway comment and said, "Look, have you guys thought about, or would you be interested in helping the CX Games?" And of course, Neil and myself both said, "Yeah, absolutely." And really didn't think much of it. Fast forward to this week, and obviously there's been conversations in the background, but the Fireside Chats Without the Fires podcast has been selected as the official podcast partner for the CX World Games, which kicks off on the 24th of May. And it's just somewhere that, hang on, let me rephrase, and that's just as a result of the Fireside Chats Without the Fires podcast. Now, this is not a Fireside Chats Without the Fires podcast promotion video. It's not. I'm not talking to you about that. The message I'm trying to get across badly is we are in a position now because of the success of the podcast, right? And that's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to demonstrate or trying to show to you is that, because you start a podcast doesn't mean you will only stay in the podcast field. I've spoken 2 or 3 times in the past about a company called Be Sober that are based in the UK that have started as a podcast, but now they're doing numerous different things that link into their brand values, right? It's just an amazing experience for you to go from A to B through a podcast. I honestly never thought that I would be part of the CX Games as a podcast official partner. So yeah, some of these things you never even think about when you launch it. So again, these are the benefits of a well-executed, well-run podcast, right? Where if you do it correctly and go through the right steps that we've spoken about before, the why, the niche, and the message, get your marketing right, be consistent, the power of consistency, the power of podcasting, becoming the key podcast of influence in your chosen niche market. The doors open, and some of the doors you never expect to open will open. So yeah, it's just a wonderful area to be in. So please, if you haven't thought about starting your podcast, but it's something you're interested in, get in touch, drop us a line over here at the Podcast Coach, and let's just get on a discovery call, 15, 20 minutes, and see what happens, right? My dad, God rest his soul, always used to say to me, he said, "Paul, it's better to regret something than regret not doing it," right? So try it. Seriously, what have you got to lose? When you do your podcast, do 10 episodes and see what happens, right? What have you got to lose? Get in touch with us here. We can help you out. We can launch you from scratch. Ultimately, if you've got already all your ducks in line, you can be up and running with your first podcast across Apple, Google, Amazon, Spotify within 2 weeks, easily, if you've got everything up and running, right? Or if you've got all your ducks in the line. If you haven't got all your ducks in the line, then that's what we can help you with. Anyway, I'm sure I've bored you enough. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, everybody. Thank you for all the support, all the comments. We really, really appreciate it here. We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you. And, ultimately, we're here to help people out. That's all we want to do. That's why we do the podcast coach. That's why I'm here. I just want to help people and get them on the journey. Anyway, have a wonderful Friday. Take care. Have a great weekend, and don't forget, please tune in at 6 p.m. PH time, where the Food Bear of Manila and Jet Fuel, we're going to be doing the Taste of Italy. So we've chosen 2 local restaurants in the Philippines that are going to deliver to us at some point later on today before we go live. So please tune in and watch the 3 of us sample the Taste of Italy. All right, listen, have a great weekend, and thank you so much, guys. Take care. Bye.